And we are live. Good to be here with you folks. Forgive me, got a little bit of allergies going on, little sniffles. I'm sorry about that, but we're going to get through it. We're going to get through it. A lot to talk about today, starting with Trump's health. So let's dig into it. Look, it's a subject we've been talking about for a while. I mean, we've watched it happen. I mean, if it's whether it's Trump's cognitive decline, where you just see him when he's asked a question, when something happens that's off the cuff, that's not something that is part of his pre-programmed talking points, and he's asked a question, Trump just can't function. He can't do it. He's obviously suffering from cognitive decline. I mean, it's painfully obvious every time he gets into a situation where there isn't just a pre-programmed talking point. He mumbles around, he doesn't know what to say, and he always runs back to some inappropriate talking point that doesn't apply to the conversation. That's what people with dementia do. They only have certain things that are still sticking in their memory, and they just gravitate to that. Doesn't matter what you're talking about. Hey, yesterday, do you remember seeing Tina at lunch? And yeah, Tina, she yeah, and but um I, those kids are really just bothering the hell out of me. What kids? We're talking about Tina. Tina doesn't have any kids. I mean, that's the kind of thing that you see with people with dementia. They cannot, it's a sad fact of life, folks. I don't find it very sad happening to Trump. Been an awful person his entire life. I think he deserves a lot of this. But for our older family members, the people that have taken care of older family members, you've seen it. You've seen it. I had a father-in-law that could talk to me in great, great detail about things in his career, things that he did in the Air Force, things that he did, while he lived in Alaska. Old memories of things that he had talked about over and over and over and over again. And it got to be every time I talked to him, those were the discussions we had. It was the same conversations over and over and over again because he was comfortable there and I wanted him to be comfortable. And I didn't, it is what it is. It happens with old folks. But you talk to him about new things, it just didn't go well. And you see that. I mean, I see it in the interviews with Trump. I'm like, yeah, it's happened. It's happened. And then you see the way he runs his government, or actually doesn't run his government. You've got all of these different people running their own programs, doing their own things in different directions, and then they just trot Trump out as a puppet and stand behind him, stick their hand up his ass and pull the string when something goes wrong. They give him some talking points. He comes out, and you can also tell by the anger whenever he gets asked a question that he can't answer. He goes straight to anger, straight to attacking. Some of these questions are just, pretty soft. Let's face it, the corporate media is really not hard on Trump, but it is time for the corporate media to start asking some questions about Trump's health. We've seen these images. I mean, from the G7, the cabinet meetings to you can look the images up yourself. They're all over the damn place, to funerals, to every. This man is falling asleep at every damn function. He just can't make it through a meeting. The meetings are very short. They are curtailing his golf trips. He has stopped over the last few weeks golfing at Bedminster, golfing down in Mar-a-Lago. He is golfing at the course right over in Virginia, just a few minutes away from the White House, where they can just zip him back to the White House. There is something going on with his health that is intensifying over the last few weeks. There is. I mean, you're seeing this more and more. Forgive the jet noise in the background. I apologize. You're seeing this more and more. You can see his frustration when he reaches the top of the stairs. Damn it, I did it again. Is somebody tripping once going up the stairs to Air Force One signal? No, they've all done it. They've all done it. All of them. We've seen that footage of everybody. Of course, when Biden did it, it was primetime news on every major network. They did hour-long segments on it. But this is happening over and over and over again. There's footage of him, and I'm going to play it one more time. It's a short video. Let me bear with me. I'm going to play it one more time because there's something I want you to pay attention to. Look how slow and methodical he's holding onto the rail, and he still trips. It's not like the one we saw of Obama where Obama was just bounding up the stairs. I mean, this is he can't help this. He can't help this. And again, I apologize about the jet noise there, but I mean, come on, man. When Biden tripped, he was popping up them stairs, When Obama tripped, he was he was two at a time in them damn things, Trump is holding the rail. He is one stepping very slow, and he still had a leg buckle. And again, this isn't the only time. There's images of him walking where he's clearly something wrong with his leg. He's dragging his right leg. Then this happened just a couple weeks ago. You'll remember this just exploded everywhere and then disappeared like a fart in a hurricane. Either Trump has a penis this long and big around as a pencil that protrudes from his left thigh, or that's a Foley catheter. That is a Foley catheter attached underneath his pants. And people were asking why. Why is he catheterized? What is going on that, there have been obvious times where you could just see puffing in his pants, what looked like adult diapers. That, look, that happens to people when they get older. It does. Incontinence is just a thing, but they don't catheterize you. They don't catheterize you. And then the other day at the FIFA Gold Cup, these pictures came out. And this was it. This was the sirens. This was the alarms. This is not a doctored photo. This is him sitting next to Melania at the FIFA Gold Cup. And I want you to take a look at the peripheral edema going on. Look at his legs. Literally spilling over his shoe over here and here. Okay, that's serious. That is serious. So I started asking, what's going on? You know, we've got a great community here. We've got a lot of people that are medical professionals in our community. And I started asking, what do you think this is? And then folks started drawing my attention to this because this happened at the exact same time. Clear latex makeup covering up Mitch McConnell style bruising on his hand. And I had several nurses point out that that looks like an IV blowout. Looks like it had a compression bandage on it. And you can see right here where it looks like there was an IV and an IV blowout at the exact same time that he's having this massive edema. Forgive the gulping. Sorry. Try to keep it paused. Try to keep it muted. So, yeah, what most people were suggesting when I asked, hey, medical professionals, what do you think this is? Most people were saying this. That just all likelihood, nobody's diagnosing him because nobody is their doctor. But the things that have been going on, most of the nurses, like I said that looked like an IV blowout. He's having serious edema. They've got him catheterized. Those three things in a man his age, because he's pushing 80, he's 80 years old, just, 78, 79 years old. A lot of people are saying that it looks like this. Lasix is a drug that's introduced intravenously for people with severe um, edema problems, whether it be pulmonary, cardio, or peripheral, or whatever. You typically have to be catheterized because it is so powerful. Um, yeah, most people are saying looks a lot like congestive heart failure. It is time for the Trump administration to start answering questions about Trump's health. This is not a joke. Let me just give you one example of why they have to start answering questions about Donald Trump's health. No one is making trade deals. No one is making trade deals. And if old hillbilly Paul can sit here on Google and put this together for you, I assure you, intelligence agencies around the world have far better, far more accurate depictions of what is going on with Donald Trump's health. And no one is making trade deals. You remember we're going to have 90 deals in 90 days? None. Zero. Why would you cut a deal with somebody who looks like they may be dead or out of office soon? This is serious, folks. This is serious. We're talking about this affects policy. This affects trade negotiations. This affects national security. And not just our own national security. I've got another story for you. We got some breaking news coming out of Syria. About the way Israel is acting. This is serious. Randy Ryder, 6776. Donald J. for jerk dump suffers from a condition identified as FTD, frontotemporal dementia. His speech, his stance, his gait, his behavior. APA would agree wholeheartedly. Again, thank you, good sir, for everything you do. Again, this is also something that has been widely speculated on, is that he is suffering from dementia. And he's got that awkward forward-leaning stance. You've seen it in picture after picture after picture that's common with people that are suffering from Lewy body dementia. There are other pictures that I didn't post. So where people are showing what looks like maybe a brace on his leg. Again, something very common with people with dementia, because they do that leg drag, they do that leaning forward thing. So they put a foot brace on you. It looks like a lower leg cast, but much thinner, to prevent them from leaning too far forward and losing their balance. I love our community. I love our community. So much experience, so many professionals, so many people. I love you people so much. Thank you for this. Lasix is used to drain fluid from around the pericardium when people are having congestive heart failure. Yeah. And here's the thing. This is a story for Salon from Brian Karam. Where these reporters do have sources within the White House that are already talking about this. Is from July 3rd. They do have people within the White House that are keenly aware of what's going on. And they're talking off the record. This is the second paragraph in that article. Donald Trump's latest activities have even some in his administration worried about his physical and mental health. Mind you, no one wants to talk about it openly, though there are a few who will spend the holiday break speculating. A member of Trump's team bluntly told me, "I'd lose my job if I talked to you about this publicly, or worse." Right. It's time for the corporate media to provide some cover for these people. If you start peppering them with questions, they've got to talk about it. And you have enough photographic evidence that they can't call it a hoax. They can't call it a witch hunt. And they can't say it's inappropriate to talk about, because, and I hate to hear Trump's voice. You hate to hear Trump's voice. We all hate to hear Trump's voice. But Trump opens the door for this. Trump opens the door for this himself. You know, folks, I love to follow AC and I love to follow Aaron Rupar. They specialize on breaking these clips down into the parts that you want to hear. So you don't have to sit and listen to this man drone on and on and on and on. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you so much for what you do. But yeah, this is Trump. Okay, we'll play it and we'll talk about it.
And AOC, look, I think she's very nice, but she's very low IQ. And we really don't need low IQ. Between her and Crockett, we're going to give them both an IQ test to see who comes out best. Now, I took my test. I took a real test at Walter Reed Medical Center, and I aced it. I got every one of all those questions right. Now it's time for them to take a test. Anyway, have a good time. I like Dan Bongino, yeah.
Okay. He's opened the door there. First of all, he didn't take an IQ test at Walter Reed. He took a test of his cognitive abilities. That's not an IQ test. And again, this is one of those things where I'm telling you, he cannot riff on a subject. He can't talk about things off the cuff. He was asked a question about AOC, and then he comes up with this. He can remember insults. He can remember that. And he can remember that he took a test, but he cannot make his mind function in a way. Look, Trump's a stupid son of a bitch. He really is. But even he knows the difference between an IQ test and a cognitive ability test. They're two very different things. And he knows that. Should know it, but he doesn't because his brain isn't functioning. Richard Lawton, Vance scares me for he is such a spineless puppet of these hateful bigots. Yeah, we're going to talk about that here in just a second. Shifty Lincoln, where you at, Jake Tapper? No shit. Big mouth Tapper loving to talk shit about Joe Biden. Where the fuck are you on this question? Again, the corporate media. And I would love for you out in the community to hammer them about this because, again, Trump has opened the door himself. He has questioned other people's IQs. He's questioned other people's cognitive abilities. He talks about his own cognitive ability test openly, which leads to a simple question, a very simple question. They don't just give you a cognitive ability test. They don't say, oh, well, now you're over 50, so you need to have, we need to take a look up your butt. That's just a thing. We're gonna do a colonoscopy. You're over 50. You got to do those now. No, there is no age where they say, okay, you're now 78, so we're going to do cognitive ability tests. No. It's just like I always talk about when I give the speeches talking about RFK, where he tells everybody that he, they did a test on me and found out that I had mercury poisoning. They don't arbitrarily do a test for mercury poisoning, dude. You were fucked up enough that a doctor looked at you and said, somebody test that dude for mercury poisoning. It's the same thing with Trump and his cognitive test. They don't just do that willy-nilly. There was something that made them give him that test. And believe me, there is no administration that would just willy-nilly volunteer for the president to take a cognitive ability test. There wouldn't. You ever had a brain fart? Ever? Yeah, you fuck up that test, you're screwed, man. Politically, you're screwed. No administration would just volunteer their president to take that test because shit happens. Why risk it? Why would you just do it for no reason? No, they gave him that test for a reason. The door is open. There's photographic evidence of him having a serious peripheral edema. He's clearly putting latex makeup on his hands to cover IVs. The corporate media must start asking these questions. Mr. Will, 73, Paul, my dad suffered from the same puffy ankles and legs, who had thin legs all his life. 3 months he needed a pacemaker. Clear symptom of heart disease. That's what most people are saying, especially people that work in the medical field. They're like, timing, no, catheter, hand bruises, been going on for months. And the hand bruise thing is not new. This has been going on. This has been going on repeatedly for a while. He is getting IV treatment for something. KMT99, first time listener of your podcast. Paul, thank you for speaking. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Everybody, welcome the new member of the community. Non-useful. Trump knows the difference between adult and prepubescent. Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. Nika T, DP9VB. Can't listen live today. Wanted to make a weekly tuition pay. Learned so much from you. Thank you for being here. Thanks for supporting the show. $50 is a lot of money. I'm very grateful. I am very grateful. You understand what I'm saying, though? I hate to be crude about it, but Kenny, I'm glad you got a good laugh out of it about the brain fart comment. But yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Nobody would just volunteer, no administration would volunteer the president to take a polygraph. No administration would volunteer the president to take any unnecessary test, because what if something happens that's not even their fault? Dry mouth and they don't get man, TV, dog, whatever the fuck that list was. I don't even remember what it was. And they screw it up. No, they did that for a reason. McBastards, corporate media asking the fox to guard the hen house there. No shit. It is a problem, but we can put pressure on them and make them do it. As a community, scream for them to answer these questions. He is clearly having problems. The man isn't even going to his golf courses anymore. He's not going to Bedminster. He's not going to his favorite places. And it's not because he's too busy. It's not. Texas, Jasmine Crockett has a doctorate in jurisprudence. I sat with my mom and she took various cognitive tests. They only test if they think there is a problem. Amen, sister. Amen. That is the truth. AJC, thanks for the support. I appreciate it. He says, for all you do, thank you, Texas Paul. I appreciate you, AJC. I really do. Androd, thanks for supporting the show. Thanks for supporting the show. God, I love you people. Where did the comment go? Where did the brain spurs comment go? That was beautiful, man. That was hilarious. I watch what you people say. I really do. I can't read every comment, but I read a lot of them. That brain spurs comment was right. Somebody find that in the chat, man. That was great. That was great. But yeah, it's happening, folks. It is happening, and it couldn't come at a worse time. It just couldn't. We're alienated from our allies. Trade is a mess. Trade is just a mess right now. I mean, folks, think about it. If you're a terrorist, or hell, not even a terrorist, just a state that is like China, that is a direct competitor with us, would you not take advantage of this? I mean, really, wouldn't you? If you're Xi in China, would you not take advantage of this? A ham-handed, stupid, imbecilic administration. Then on top of it, Trump can't keep the dots connected. Of course you would. Of course you would. And it is dangerous. It is dangerous. Look, I want to take a left turn here. want to take a break from Trump for a second. We're going to come back to him here in a little bit, but this just happened. I want to give you some good news, folks. I do. I want to give you some good news. We just had a primary election in Arizona. This is Arizona's 7th district. Raul Grijalva died, leaving a seat vacant. You'll notice that none of the votes in the House come up to 435. We've got in Democratic districts, we have 3 seats that have been open. Arizona is finally moving forward with filling these seats, and we got a strong candidate. This is Arizona's 7th district down there. It's down by the border. Raul Grijalva was he wasn't your television news, so nobody on social media knows who this guy is, but on the Hill, he was a force. He was a force of nature. When he passed, he was a real loss. He was a serious loss. When it came to border issues, he was the sane voice in the room. He was like, this is going to sound arrogant as fuck, but he was like me. He was business. He didn't talk nonsense and run off to the fringes just to make some people happy. He talked about what was really going on, from the humanitarian side of it to the law enforcement side of it to the, he was a sane voice. Absolutely. He was incredibly well respected on the Hill. He's one of those people that when I get kind of really angry when I see the social media stuff, and I shouldn't get angry. I shouldn't. I understand. People have lives. People have things that they do. And they can't be tuned into politics. So they don't know. They're like, what are Democrats doing? And they have no idea that who Raul Grijalva was and what he did. The meetings he sat through to keep policy on track for the longest time. And he was a loss. He was a serious loss. His daughter followed in his political footsteps, and now she has won the primary to succeed her father. There'll be a general election coming up in a few weeks, and there's a good chance she's going to win. And that's a good news, because she is also a very no-nonsense person. She really is. Why this is a bigger story than that, one seat in Arizona. I can see a lot of people, I don't know. Folks, we talked about it before. Those click farms didn't go away. They didn't stop existing because the campaign ended. There have been serious concerted efforts within the Democratic sphere, especially on social media. They have been at work, and their number one thing has been to undermine the Democratic Party and make establishment a bad word. If the Democratic Party supports you, if you go to blue sky, you're the bad guy. You're just the bad guy. Even though the Democratic Party is the only party working for you and doing what you want on the Hill, they've really pushed this narrative forward. And if you want some just elegant evidence that is going on, I want you to take a look at the reporting here. This is from the Google search page about her win. Adelita Grijalva wins Arizona Democratic primary for House seat. A scion of Democratic politics defeats the upstarts in the Arizona primary. Adelita Grijalva, apparent nominee for CD7. CNN. Adelita Grijalva wins Democratic primary in Arizona to replace her father. Axios. Grijalva clinches Democratic nomination in Arizona CD7. Fox. Establishment-backed Democrat wins high-profile congressional primary. Why would they say that? Why would that be their headline? especially given it's not true. It's not true. There was an establishment candidate in the race. There was. It was a guy by the name of Daniel Hernandez. And he came in third. Daniel Hernandez came in third. He's a former staffer for Gabby Giffords. He's a longtime member of the Democratic Party. He is the Democratic establishment. There was another candidate, Deja Fox. She was pushed hard on social media. Pushed hard by who? I don't know. But she was pushed as an age war candidate because she's a millennial. Adelita had a couple endorsements that you could not call establishment Democrat. Her endorsements were from Bernie Sanders and AOC. So why would Fox come out and say that Adelita was the establishment candidate? Because they are very much pushing this. They've found a crack. They've got their nails in it. On social media, this whole hate on the Democratic Party thing, hate on our Democratic leadership thing has taken hold. Those click farms are working. And there are a lot of real human beings that are traipsing along, going along with it. Because they don't, these are people that don't and really shouldn't, unless they live in the district, know who Raul Grijalva was or Adelita Grijalva. So Fox can call her whatever they want. Again, we've seen that before. They don't shy away from it. They don't shy away from it. Any person that they can attack that you are not going to know anything about, they have never shied away of trying to label them as something that serves their purpose. They've done it to transgender people because most people don't know a transgender person. So the way they talk about them, none of it is factual. But this is their MO. And I need you as a community to be aware of it. Those click farms didn't go away. Those click farms are actively working to undermine the Democratic Party and suppress our vote in the midterms. So we have a new candidate, and Fox has immediately gone to work. No other news outlet defined her that way because it simply wasn't true. Fox did. And you're going to hear that over and over and over again. I'm going to watch this race and I'm going to bring it back to you in the future where that's how they try to paint her. It's the same thing with Mamdani. These click farms are incredibly active on Blue Sky. I love Blue Sky, don't get me wrong. Great community. But the way it's designed, these click farms are incredibly active on Blue Sky. They are. If you only and this is the way social media works, is most people are very loyal to one platform. They're either Blue Sky people, they're either Threads people, or they're Facebook people, or they're, very few people do what I have to do for a living, which is be on all the different platforms. If you're on Blue Sky, you would think that the Democratic establishment was trying to end Zoran Mamdani. And it is the only place in the universe where that is being fomented. Because outside of Blue Sky, It's just not reality. It's just not. That's a good one, non-useful. Do I think Roger Stone will tattoo Trump on his back? Good God. Do you think he can find somebody to stretch that old leather out? But yeah, that's what we're going to do with that. We're going to keep track of that race, and I'm going to show you the way the right tries to characterize her and undermine her in this race. But moving on. Donald Trump says, back to the Donald Trump says that those interested in the Jeffrey Epstein inquiry are bad people. They are bad people. Bad people. Donald Trump says you are bad people because you care about whether our leaders are fucking pedophiles. You know, this isn't a question, right? This isn't a dispute. Jeffrey Epstein was a fucking pedophile, and that he had very high profile, very powerful guests to his private island to engage in sleeping with underage people. This isn't in dispute. And Donald Trump thinks that you're a bad person for wanting to know who's on that list. And I tell you, you know what I'm absolutely loving about this is how badly MAGA miscalculated. How badly they miscalculated on this. Yeah, they got really excited. They went balls to the wall on this Epstein files thing. And none of them ever stopped to look around to see what we were doing. Because let me tell you something about the Epstein file and the Democrats. Every single Democrat, and I know not one that strays from this characterization. You know, I hate generalities, but this is a fact that I have known, and you can confirm it. If you agree with me, throw the hearts and skulls up when I say this. Every single Democrat should release the files. Republicans said, "Oh, you Democrats are on it." And every single Democrat said, "I don't give a fuck. I don't care if every single member of the Democratic Party is on that fucking list. You release it, and we will deal with those motherfuckers." Of course, they aren't. You know, it's not the Democrats that are on that list. You know why? You know, it's not the Democrats on that list? Because the Republicans just voted to block the release of the Epstein files. While most people were sleeping, they held a committee hearing. And these Republicans, Virginia Fox, you remember, "Oh, shut up," you know, old Virginia Fox from North Carolina, Michelle Fishbach from Minnesota, Aaron, I'm not going to do that one. I don't know Aaron. I don't know Aaron. I don't know Nick Langworthy, Austin Scott, Morgan Griffith, and Brian Jack from Georgia. Austin Scott from Georgia, Morgan Griffith from Virginia, Nick Langworthy from New York. I'm going to go with Houchin, Aaron Houchin from Indiana. You Indiana people, tell me if I nailed that one. Aaron Houchin. And of course, Michelle Fishbach from Minnesota. All voted to make sure that you never see the Epstein files. Who voted for the release? Jim McGovern, the Democrat from Massachusetts. Mary Gay Scanlon, Democrat from Pennsylvania. Joe Neguse, Democrat from Colorado. Teresa Fernandez, Democrat from New Mexico. And Ralph Norman, Republican from South Carolina. All voted to release the Epstein files. But the Republicans killed it. So you tell me who's on that fucking list. You tell me what's in those files. I can tell you by the way they're acting. And this also happened. Kudos to Midas Touch here. We're going to call them out a couple times a day. They really nailed it on a couple different things. Ghislaine Maxwell, again, contacted members of the committee and said, look, I'll come testify. Anything you want to know. Anything you want to know, I will come testify. Republicans said, no. Sorry, I had to take care of a user there that was being profane in the chat. Out the airlock. That's the way we roll here. You ain't going to be coming in here saying vile shit like that in my chat. Fuck you. I'll throw you under the bus and back that bus right up over you. Meanwhile, and again, I apologize. I told you, you don't like to hear Trump. I don't like to hear Trump. But this one's actually important. It's important to hear in his own words what he's saying.
I know you've urged people to move on, but I'm curious, why do you think your supporters in particular have been so interested in the Epstein story and so upset about how it's been handled?
I don't understand it. Why they would be so interested. He's dead for a long time. He was.
You know what? I'm sorry. I know you hate when I interrupt the videos, but you know, that's something I didn't catch when I watched it the first time, is the way that reporter characterized that. It is not Trump supporters. Every goddamn Democrat I know wants those files released, and they want to see them today. They want to see them today.
I know you've urged people to move on, but I'm curious, why do you think your supporters in particular have been so interested in the Epstein story and so upset about how it's been handled?
I don't understand it. Why they would be so interested. He's dead for a long time. He was never a big factor in terms of life. I don't understand what the interest or what the fascination is. I really don't. And the credible information's been given. Don't forget, we went through years of the Mueller witch hunt and all of the different things, the Steele dossier, which was all fake. All that information was fake. But I don't understand why the Jeffrey Epstein case would be of interest to anybody. It's pretty boring stuff. It's sordid, but it's boring. And I don't understand why it keeps going. I think really only pretty bad people, including fake news, want to keep something like that going. But credible information, let them
Now,
get.
I want you to see this. I want you to see this. Now, this is old Nutlick over here to his right. Old Nutlick over here having a good laugh about this.
Including fake news want to keep something like that going. But credible information, let them give it.
Okay. Old Nutlick having a good laugh about pedophilia, about people abusing children. Oh, fucking Nutlick having a good old time there. Well, okay, Nutlick, you want to go that route, you sick, sorry bastard? I want to show you something. This is 16 East 71st Street, New York City. This old Howard Nutlick bought back in 1998. This is old Nutlick's place. Having a good laugh, are you, Howard? Think that's funny? Doing a little renovation at your place? Okay, cool. You want to know whose fucking house this is right next door? You want to take a guess whose fucking house this is right next door to Howard Nutlick, his neighbor? The guy that saw the comings and goings? Yeah. Let me tell you something. When you live in a townhouse in New York, you see your fucking neighbors. You know your fucking neighbors. You know that kids are coming out. You know the people that are coming out. And yeah, Nutlick was Epstein's fucking neighbor for years. Have a good laugh, Nutlick. We're coming for you. Marion Giesler, 9159, who couldn't cobble a sentence together to save his life. He can't. He can't. He's done. He is done. He is done. Kudos to Midas Touch for calling this out about Nutlick. Midas Touch, 1998, Nutlick purchased a Manhattan property. I can't even read Nutlick anymore. I'll read it as Nutlick. Purchased a Manhattan property at 11 East 71st Street behind the Henry Clay Frick House from the Comet Trust. The townhouse was previously owned by an entity associated with businessman Les Wexler and Jeffrey Epstein, a financier of child sex offender. Yeah, not only did he live next door to Epstein, he bought the house from him. How you feeling now, laughing boy? How the fuck you feeling now? Still fucking funny? Still fucking funny that there's a good chance you might be on that fucking list? So, yeah. Sorry, I don't mean to lose my temper and be so salty, but this is serious. This is young kids we're talking about, young girls. The most vulnerable, some of the most vulnerable people in our society, and these fucking predators just preyed on them. And these girls are in their 30s now, and they're trying to deal with this shit. They're trying to deal with somebody pimping them. They're trying to deal with somebody sexually assaulting them. They're trying to deal with, folks, let me tell you something. If you've never known anybody that's been the victim of abuse, man, there is so much shit flying around in that shit storm that they are dealing with. And you got Nutlick there just laughing it up, and Donald Trump calling anybody that wants to know about it bad people. Well, fuck you. Yeah, this is if I haven't saying it, this is never going away. Never. But yeah, moving on. Talking about Trump's decline being dangerous. Yeah, we've got some breaking news for you folks. This just happened. Let me give you some background. William Brown, NBA, if there was ever a time to lose your temper, it is this time. It is now. Don't apologize for the cussing jar. I appreciate you, man. Thank you for supporting the show. I am truly grateful, people. I can't do it without you. We've talked about Ahmed al-Shara before. We've talked about his background, the fact that he came up as an al-Qaeda fighter. We also talked about the kind of leader he's grown into. He is trying his damnedest to make a Syria for everybody. He is literally using his military to stop sectarian violence within Syria. When you have a civil war, what follows next is each of the factions start fighting each other to grab as much control as they can and as much power as they can, because that means power going forward in the next government. Ahmed al-Shara has said, we're not doing it. There are not going to be reprisals. There are not going to be attacks. We are going to be one Syria for everybody. And kudos to the man. I'll call out his militant past. I will. It was fucking stupid. But the man is doing the right thing now. He is. And this just happened. You remember we talked about the Druze before? The Druze aren't Muslims. They're not Christians. We talked about their belief a little bit. They differ from Muslims in that their primary prophet is Moses' uncle Jethro. There's about 20,000 of them living in southern Syria. Well, there's been some sectarian violence between them and the Bedouins. They're also in southern Syria. There are Bedouin tribes that fought with al-Shara to free themselves from Bashar al-Assad. People always think that is so funny. Yeah, his name is Jethro. Jethro. If that's his Englified name. I think they pronounce it Swede in Arabic. But the Bedouins and the Druze have been fighting. Yeah, the Bedouins. You know, when you go back to Lawrence of Arabia, the Arabic tribes with the wrapped around head, ride camels and stuff that's what most people think of when you talk about Bedouin. Glenn Kaneko, very interesting show as always, watching on delay today. Glad you're here, my friend. Glad you're here. Glad you're always here. Ron Slater, thanks for the support. They laugh about nursing homes getting destroyed in Ukraine too. The depravity. Yeah, these are gross people. They are. Republicans are just gross people. But no, the Bedouins are not all Lawrence of Arabia, we ride camels in the desert people. They aren't. They have modernized like everyone else. They are a fighting force in southern Syria. They had to be to survive Bashar al-Assad. They have men, material, equipment. And they are fighting with the Druze over territory. So Ahmed al-Shara, true to his word, said, we're not going to have it. We're not going to have it. And he sent his militia, the established Syrian military. This is the official Syrian military. Ahmed al-Shara sent his troops in to quell this fighting, to stop it. So, of course, this happened. Israel just bombed Damascus, attacked Syria's military. The Druze are allied with Israel. They are Arabic. They were once offered Israeli citizenship when Israel took the Golan Heights. They offered the Druze citizenship. The Druze said, no, we're Syrians. No, we don't want your citizenship. So Israel issued them essentially green cards, the same as our green cards. Okay, you can live here, but because you're our allies, but you're not Israeli citizens. So when Ahmed al-Shara is trying his damnedest to keep sectarian violence from breaking out all over his country, which happens after civil wars, you have Israel directly attacking the Syrian government and Syrian military in the name of protecting the Druze. This man cannot survive peace. He cannot. He cannot survive peace. If Israel is not at war with someone, if Israel is not under direct threat from someone, they have no need for this man. There is a left in Israel. There is war fatigue in Israel. There are people that are supporting candidates like Benny Gantz and Yair Golan. We've talked about it many times. There are other candidates coming up. There is a movement. But this man must have war at all times, or he goes to prison for corruption. So there will be war. There will be war. Because Netanyahu's base is people like this. And this is Itamar Ben-Gvir. We've talked about him multiple times. He is also one of the people that their answer is kill everybody. I mean, if you want to boil it down to the most basic, it's just fucking kill everybody that's not Israeli. This is Itamar Ben-Gvir at Mar-a-Lago in April. Speaking at Mar-a-Lago is the United States president's guest. I wish I could give you some deep, in-depth, well, there's a reason for this, or there's it's more intricate than that. It's not. It's fucking not. Mohammed al-Shara is trying to consolidate his country, and Israel's doing everything they fucking can to destabilize it and start a war with Syria now, because they don't want an established, settled Syria in the future. No chaos, no Netanyahu. So there must be chaos. It's that simple. It really is that simple. He is an evil motherfucker, and he has got to go. I'm telling you, he has got to go. You know, I'm going to tell you, I speak about Syria very optimistically. I do. It is going to be another Islamic state. It is. That country is overwhelmingly Islamic. It's going to be a little bit problematic in that it is very closely allied with Turkey now. They owe Turkey for their independence, for their freedom from Bashar al-Assad. But Ahmed al-Shara seems to be keenly aware that being an Islamic state doesn't mean that you have to be at war with the world, that you don't have to be extremists, that you don't have to suppress every faction, that you can actually govern for everybody in your country. So yeah, I have some optimism there. I do. I have some optimism there. But I will tell you, Trump's weakness, the Republican fealty too. You remember last show where I showed you Charlie Kirk and how angry he was about these Epstein files and that they're not coming out? The list isn't coming out, and how he set up all their best influence. Pam Bondi set up their best influencers because their influencers were, they remember that in the last show, they were holding up the files that said Epstein files on them. You remember that? Well, Trump said anybody that talks about Epstein's bad people. So this is Charlie Kirk now. And I know it sounds like I'm jumping around, but I'm going somewhere with this. Stick with me. I'm going to land this plane.
Honestly, I'm done talking about Epstein for the time being. I'm going to trust my friends in the administration. I'm going to trust my friends in the government to do what needs to be done, solve it, balls in their hands. I've said plenty this last weekend.
Okay. Yeah, one more time. Remember last week, his outrage. Sat there with Megyn Kelly talking about, this is what you do to an enemy. This was a setup. We need to see those files. I don't know what's going on here. I don't know but we've got to get to the bottom of this. And then today,
honestly, I'm done talking about Epstein for the time being. I'm going to trust my friends in the administration. I'm going to trust my friends in the government.
Yep. I told you, folks. I told you. A long time ago, I told you. This whole Epstein thing is baked into the cake. It's baked into the cake. They knew he was a fucking felon and they voted for him anyways. They knew he was a pedophile and they voted for him anyways. They knew. The only thing they're trying to do is save that one little fringe with a slight strip of decency left in them, because these elections are so damn close that they want to pretend, oh, we wanted it. We wanted it. Oh, no, you fucking didn't. You blocked the release of it. And now you're squashing the story. I'm not going to talk about it anymore. I'm going to trust the people in the administration. Let's just be clear, folks. Trump's brain is pudding, and you've got all of these people in this administration running their own direction, and the only person that's holding this mess together is Susie Wiles. And she ain't that strong. She doesn't have that much clout. She just doesn't. The only threat Susie Wiles has is she can take Dementia Donnie, point him at someone, and say, attack that. And that's about over. That's about over. Now, I'm going to say this. I've said it before. Trump is dying right before our eyes. Trump is just dying right before our eyes. Yeah, no shit. This is why it's falling apart on him. Kentissa Hood here, longtime foundational member of the community. What happened to government is bad. They just can't keep their story straight. It's literally falling apart before their eyes, and their cult leader is dying. So look, folks, your job here, get on the corporate media. Make them ask questions about Trump's health. Get after these people attacking the Democratic Party. They're being, even the ones that are the most well-meaning are being highly manipulated by these click farms. You saw it. The only outlet to claim that Adelita Grafelia was establishment was Fox News, the right-wing establishment, the right-wing media. You're seeing it right before your eyes, folks. You're seeing Netanyahu off the chain, because not only do we Democrats not have power to check him, there is nobody in the Little Marco? Little Marco has no power. This is dangerous, folks. This is dangerous. Right now, Syria has one major ally, and that's Turkey. If Syria and Israel go to war, Israel is at war with Turkey. So I'm begging you, if you're on the left in Israel, if you are a non-Netanyahu supporting Jewish person here in the States, which there are plenty of, you've got to step up. You have got to speak up. Think about this. They bombed Damascus. Imagine if they bombed DC. What would our reaction be? This isn't Iran. Iran is somewhat isolated. Syria is not. Syria's big brother to the north is the only country in that entire region that can go into a straight up kicking ass contest with Israel and win. I'm telling you. This could escalate very quickly. Very quickly. If you are on the left in Israel, you need to start screaming for your own survival. ET, will he actually make it to the end of the term? We need to check him in advance before he is gone. No, I don't think Trump is going to make it to the end of his term. I really don't. I think he is going to be so physically out of it by Christmas. The Where's Waldo game will be the Where's Trump game. Remember, we're in August already. This year's half gone. We're 6 months to Christmas. By Christmas, they're going to march out Trump for the cameras for 2 or 3 seconds. He's going to say a few lines, and then they're going to push him back behind the doors, just like they did with Reagan in the second term. They're going to try, but they're not going to get away with it. We're not going to stop. He is dying. Folks, we are 14 days to August. We're halfway through July. It's 6 months to Christmas. Less than 6 months. By Christmas, I'm telling you, pin it. Where's Waldo's going to be Where's Trump? And they'll try to puppet him around. But I got to tell you, no. Alistair, a great question. Turkey is NATO if they invoke Article 5. That wouldn't happen. Article 5 only works as a defensive measure. Like, if you're a member of NATO and you go jump into a kicking ass contest with one of your neighbors, that doesn't trigger Article 5. Article 5 is a defensive thing. Article 5 is somebody attacks you. Syria is not NATO. So if Turkey comes barreling ass south through Syria and a kicking ass contest starts between Syria and Israel, no, that doesn't trigger Article 5 at all. Kate Marylight, one of the tarot card readers, I hope that answers your question. One of the tarot card readers on YouTube predicted he would be gone within 5 months. Not sure what will follow. I don't put much faith in religion or tarot cards. I put faith in my eyes. He's having serious health problems. The dementia's getting worse. No. Will he survive his whole term? I don't think so. I don't think so. My only hope is that he lasts long enough. We decimate them in the midterms. We give the Democrats power back so they can actually do something. We decimate them in the midterms. We have say in this government. We control what's going on. Trump is melting before our eyes. They're parading him around like a fucking puppet, trying to, keep the cult together, which it won't happen. Because, this whole Epstein blow up thing, that was so easily avoided. All they had to do was this. 13 Donna Bell, GOP stands for Gestapo of People and Gutters of Protections. That's a good one. That is a good one. I want you to think about this, folks. What an unforced error this was. If they had just and never mentioned Epstein, the right-wing influencers would have talked all the way through the midterms about this Epstein investigation that was just going on. They'd have made shit up and they'd have said, ooh, that list is coming. And it would have just gone on and on and on and on. Kind of like Trump in his 2 weeks. We'll have an infrastructure plan in 2 weeks. We'll have an infrastructure plan in 2 weeks. We'll have healthcare in 2 weeks. We'll have, it would have been that. This was a completely unforced error. This was Trump, the old man, saying, that people think bad of me. This is dementia Donnie. And And he did this, and he's talking about people talking about Epstein are bad people. He can't stop talking about Epstein. Remember, nobody asked Pam Bondi to release this report. Nobody. This was Todd Blanche. This was Trump's defense attorney who's been planted into the DOJ. And Pam Bondi doing what Trump wanted. Nobody asked for this. Everybody wanted the release of the files, but there was no corporate news outlet saying, hey, what do you got on the Epstein files? No, they don't do that. They don't do that. Mark Sibley, 4546. Epstein is his end. We love Texas Paul in Canada. Thank you. Epstein is his end. I don't know if that's the case, because I'd really be honest with you folks. This whole Epstein thing is baked into the cake with MAGA. Look at Charlie Kirk. I'm just not going to talk about it anymore. They knew he was what he was when they voted for him. These are bad people. MAGA are bad people. They did. They knew he was a felon. They knew everything. They knew that he, assaulted a woman in a Bergdorf Goodman dressing room. They knew all of it. Alto Eager, it's weekend at Trumpy's time. Yeah, no kidding. That's exactly what I'm saying they're going to do. They're going to weekend and Bernie's this sumbitch. He is going to be just a cadaver walking. The dementia is just getting worse. Imagine where it's going to be in 6 months, folks. Imagine where it's going to be in 6 months. But yeah, folks, he may not make it to the end of his term. He may not live that long, but they're going to try to keep that cult together with him. They're going to try to keep him as the figurehead. And believe me, that's not a bad thing. If we can time this so that it's only the last year in which he's lost and the cult falls apart, that's the best thing, because you do not want JD Vance. Let me say it again. You do not want JD Vance. He is a true believer. He is a suck up to the South African shit gibbon mafia, PayPal mafia. He is a Curtis Yarvin disciple. He believes in the unitary fascist executive. He preaches this stuff. Trump is a demented fucking grifter who's trying to get planes and money and anything he can for Trump. He's a fucking con man. Vance is dangerous. He will not have the cult. He does not have the personality. He will never be Trump, but he will be dangerous. And even a weak president is dangerous, especially when they believe the shit that is inside JD Vance's fucked up head. Mr. Will 73 says, Paul, we actually need Trump to survive the midterms, because if Vance takes power before we take back the House and Senate, we're effed. Vance is far worse. Yeah, exactly. I love you people, man. The information, the stuff that you already know. Sometimes I'm just floored. Pavlon 01, need to start a JD Vance watch while Trump fades away. People have been keeping an eye on him. They have. Every flaw, every fuck up, everything gets plastered all over our news, which is out on social media because we don't have any news anymore. Ollie in the 1976, he should worry you. He should worry you. The stuff that he espouses is anti-American. It is just anti everything we have ever been as a nation. Colleen Sarah, 8364. He can't fly to his golf courses because he is a high risk for blood clot due to prolonged sitting, in my opinion. Could be. There's a lot of speculation. That's why they need to start answering some damn questions. Do I think they'll tell the 100% truth? No, but we'll be able to flesh it out. We will be able to flesh it out. So look, we got a few minutes left for a roundtable here. That's what I've got for you today. We've got a few minutes left for a roundtable here. Look, I've laid my position out very clearly on Israel. They've been an ally for a very long time, and you need to support your allies. You do. But Netanyahu's a fucking criminal. Everybody was sympathetic after October 7th. Everybody. But he squandered all of that. What they're doing in Gaza, there is no excuse whatsoever for what they're doing in Gaza. None. Now they attacked Iran because, do you remember? They had to end their nuclear, they're going to get a bomb. Matter of weeks, they're going to get a bomb. We got to stop them. We got to end their nuclear bullshit. You did none of that. You did none of that. Even the IAEA has come out and said, no, you blew up some buildings. They still have their stockpiles. They can be enriching again in a matter of weeks. 6 to 8 weeks, they're enriching again. I thought we had to stop that. We didn't. But again, it was a failure. So like a fart in a hurricane, gone. Nobody talks about that. Now Netanyahu's attacking Syria. So I want to ask you folks, am I getting it wrong? I support the Palestinian people, but fuck Hamas. If the Palestinian people want to stand, best thing they could do is stand up a government that is not fucking Hamas. I know that's easier said than done because Hamas has the fucking guns, and it's really hard to walk up when you're unarmed and say, you're not the government anymore. I don't know. Am I? There are good people. There are people in Israel that are not hateful. They don't hate their neighbors. They embrace their Arabic neighbors. And they have political parties. It's not like they're not involved. They're in the Knesset. Yeah, but William, aren't you the same person that says I can't equate the Palestinians with Hamas? I can't call the Palestinians Hamas. Aren't you that person making the same argument? I'm not trying to, you're a longtime supporter of the show, and we agree on so much. So it's a legitimate question. William G. Atheist, a member of our community. This is why we have a roundtable. Says, nope, the genocide in Palestine. I just cannot support Israel at any level. Free Palestine. Okay. But weren't you the same person that when Hamas attacked Israel on October 7th that said not all of Palestine is Hamas? You can't punish all of Palestine for Hamas? I can't be that person, guy. I can't. I can't condemn all of Israel because all of Israel is not Netanyahu. Or am I doing it wrong? Look, man, it's a legitimate question. It may just be something we disagree on, but that's where I'm at. I can't do that. Israel's been our ally for a long time. Netanyahu's a fucking criminal. Netanyahu's got to go. He is destroying Israel, just like Hamas destroyed Gaza. Chris, R797, thank you for being here. Thanks for supporting the show. That's something you just don't hear enough. Hamas destroyed Gaza. Omniscient Sphinx 6247. They wouldn't puppet Trump. We're going to get AI Trump in the last part of the term. That is something. That's why I love you people. That's why I love you people. Omniscient Sphinx. That is a great point. Reagan didn't have AI. How far are they going to be able to go with this weekend and Bernie shit with Trump? Think about it. They're already running government bad. Doge, they have caught them over and over and over again with shit that is blatantly wrong that you get from GPT. For fuck's sake, they're trying to make government cuts based on what Chat GPT tells them. That's a great question. And Omniscient thinks, man, thanks for saying it. I mean, I disagree with you, but thanks for saying it, man. Thank you, because you are not alone. There are a lot of people that feel the exact same way you do. I disagree. I hope it's a furtive question, discussion. Somebody asked about if we saw Trump at the World Cup. I don't have the comment, but I'm seeing it being sent to me via text. Is that a Black Power salute he keeps giving? So he supports African folks? No, that's not a Black Power salute. That is just Trump being an idiot. Did y'all see that he pocketed a fucking medal? One of the players from the winning team, he asked to see his medal from the FIFA Gold Cup, and he pocketed it. The head of FIFA asked him for it back, and he looked the guy dead in the face and put it in his pocket. Yeah, I mean, this guy is lost, and he did it on camera right in the middle of the ceremony. This guy is fucking demented. He kept the trophy too, the original trophy. They did a press conference with Trump, and Trump's just like, I'm keeping that. Guys, that is a very expensive trophy. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here, but it's Tiffany. Tiffany makes that trophy. Tiffany and Company. And he just kept it. They had to make a duplicate to give the team. He's crazy. Is that what it's valued at? 240K, 230K? I'll be honest with you, I didn't check it. I love you people so much. Helen of Scotland. God, I love you people for the knowledge that y'all bring to our community. You are fucking priceless people. You are priceless people. Now, if we can take that knowledge and skill you have and remember in the next election, we're not just talking to us. We're not just talking to informed people. We're talking, I don't know, we're coming to an election, so I don't want to keep calling them what I normally call them. I need a good word for the kinder, more, help me out here, folks. You're very skilled people. A kinder, more inclusive for the people that ain't us, that aren't really informed. And what do we call them? Because I can't keep calling them what I normally call them. Janice Hannah Nelson, thank you. New supporter coming out with the big guns. Bam, bam, bam. $50 is a lot of money. I appreciate you doing it. Appreciate you for doing it. There you go. That's a good one. The misinformed. The uninformed, the misinformed. We got to come up with a good. And I said I can't keep saying that. Do you know how many emails you people sent me for calling them the stupids? Now I know you got an opinion on this. Don't tell me you sent me all those emails and didn't have an opinion on it. Knowledge deficient. There you go. Let's call them the busy people. Too busy for politics, okay? The busy people too busy for politics that don't know. That's too long. I'll come up with something shorter, I promise. That's what I do for a living, folks. Well, look, folks, it's been an hour and a half. I've been told 2 hours is too long. I need to keep them shorter. So that's what I've got for you today. I very much enjoyed talking with you folks. Let's keep this up. Let's flex a little bit. If you're watching this in the replay, part of the community that watches it in the replay, remember to hit the button down here to bring the chat panel up. It's important to see what's going on with the community. Let's get the community involved and let's start nailing these news sources like Jake Tapper. Hey, dude, what the fuck, man? How much photographic evidence do you need of Trump dissolving right before our eyes before you start asking questions about Trump's health? Let's just get the corporate media to do their damn job because it's important. It is important. It's necessary. It is necessary. Kate Marylight, now the DOJ wants states to supply voting rolls. States run the elections, period. They can want all day long, but it don't mean shit. States run the elections. Cecile Kazemi, the man lies when the truth would suit better, steals and grifts with abandon, and allows food to be destroyed rather than give it to children who are starving. Amen. Never forget what they did with USAID. Never forget what they did with USAID. It was inhumane. It was inhumane. They let food sit in warehouses and rot so they could throw it away rather than give food and medication to people that are starving to prevent AIDS outbreaks. They're just awful people. They're awful people. I love you folks. Thank you for your time. Thank you for being part of the community. Thanks for always supporting the show. Can't do it without you. I'm very grateful. Looking forward to seeing you Friday. Enjoy some Texas cities at night.